Fire Force Season 3, Episode 4, Golden Secret. This one's about science, and I'm excited. So let's talk about it. All right, so Fire Force, again, this is anime that is near and dear to me because of me being a firefighter. So it's certain things that I look at and I try to see how the accuracy of certain things are and what makes a lot of sense, what doesn't, whatever the case may be. They done the research, and I like what I'm seeing. So with this episode, we have Golden Secret. We see Gold is still manipulating um, whatever it is that is messing with everybody, and we kind of have an idea that it's magnetic fields. You kind of went towards that with the last episode. That's kind of what they were showing, but now it's kind of confirmed. And Lick is working on the problem. So Victor is working on the problem, trying to figure out how to solve the issue and why she's able to deflect everything and all that. While this is going on, Shinra and Joker face burns, but nothing is really going on there at the moment. So going back, we see that Gold's heat generation allows her to create magnetism. So she created magnetic fields, and basically she's able to control everything else. So all of the Tekyo and anything else that is the shield, everything else that is metal, basically she is taking control of, and then she's using it back on the eighth to do damage. And she cops to it, and she's like, "Yeah, this is what we do. We take, the weapons of other other targets and stuff like that, and we turn them against each other. Like that's one of the most effective ways for them to complete their tasks, their assassinations, whatever it is that they're trying to do. So good strategy, solid." And part of that is with the golden gauntlet on her arm. The golden gauntlet does not uh, react with magnetism as well, but when it's superheated, which is the heat that she's generating from her body, so that it's able to, gain magnetic properties. So that's kind of where we're at with her figuring stuff out. So Victor and Vulcan, they're working all this stuff out, figuring out and trying to figure out what it is they need to do, while everyone else is on survival mode, trying to figure it out. Tamaki in particular, she actually had something that she had Vulcan make for her to kind of give her a boost because she's not as fast or explosive as Shinra. So her having these Vulcan boosters that she uses that cause a thermite reaction. Pretty much what it is this fine powder of iron oxide, and aluminum ground together, and basically when they're superheated, they cause combustion and they explode, which gives her more power. So she's able to use like a big Nekomata giant fireball, throw it forward. It gives her explosive speed that she can utilize to move in different directions because she has that big resistance to fire, so that the explosion doesn't damage her as much as it would someone else, and she's able to utilize that to propel herself in different directions or propel blasts out. So really good to see. I enjoy that we're giving her some tech that she can use to kind of help amp her up. So that's really good. Once everybody determines that, okay, our weapons are being taken to use, can't use them, we got to figure out some way to stop her. And eventually the lucky electric kicks in because the metal is the only part of the uniform that is metal, is the belt. The metal gets taken off of Tamaki, and of course she's exposed, which is her normal thing. And of course everyone else sees this and is like, you know what, we're gonna drop our pants too. So they all lose their pants, and they have no shame in because they pose for a calendar every year for charity. So with that being said, them going without pants is nothing new. They'll be all right. So there's again just a funny little callback to the calendar, but Victor and Vulcan are really working on a plan to disrupt the magnetic field, and this is where the science really kicks in. That got me paying attention. They use Tamaki, who is sitting there, of course, in nothing but her underwear, and they have her make a butt pot. They have her take her tails and spin them to create a pot of fire. And what they do is they take all the metal scrap that they have lying around and they throw it in this pot, and they're trying to melt it and trying to figure out what way can they use to disrupt magnetism. While this is going on, Lisa steps up and she uses her like her fish kind of fire powers for that to basically fight off and basically conceal Tamaki while she's fighting off the magnetic stuff, because she has a bit of magnetism herself within her powers. So she's able to disrupt the field, somewhat, and provide defense while they get the plan cooking. back there. Literally get the plant cooking. So in this butt pot, they have all the miscellaneous iron, and they're heating all this stuff up. And what they're doing is they're adding the thermite reaction to it with Vulcan's boosters. They're adding oxygen meant for breathing, so concentrated oxygen. They're adding into the pot, and they're doing all this to ramp up the temperature and get the temperature to a certain degree level so that they can cause the disruption in magnetism. Now, here's where it comes into play. This is where it's science with that. So at 770 degrees uh Celsius, so that is where you have iron that has a point where it loses its magnetism. It's actually called Curie, the Curie law, Curie methods with that. But Curie temperature, Curie point. I'm trying to remember what it was. So with Curie, and this was done by Pierre Curie. Basically, this is a point where all metal, so that that has a reaction at this point, so whatever it is, so if it's iron, if it's cobalt, if it's nickel, whatever it is, they all have different temperatures, where freaking like 1400 degrees Fahrenheit for iron, 60 for cobalt, 669 for nickel. This is where it loses its metallic properties, which means it can no longer be controlled by magnetism. It has gone to a point where it has had a composition change within the material to disallow magnetism to be present. So it is no longer allowed to be magnetic at that point. Like it's it's unable to do it. And so what they're doing is they're superheating it up. And you see him talking about it, and he mentions it. We need to get it past that point. But they continue heating past that point. And it's like, what are they doing? They continue heating up to 2800 degrees Fahrenheit. And it's like, okay, well, if they only need 1400, and 18 degrees to get the iron to be non-magnetic, why are they going to 2800 degrees? And you pay attention to what they're doing. They go to 2800 degrees because they want to liquefy the metal. And this is a very particular point. So what they do is they take it past this melting point. The average melting point of iron and steel, and so that's somewhere between 22 and 2500 degrees. So taking it to 2800 degrees ensures that it becomes molten metal at that point, and then they're able to take that molten metal into more or less a molten fireball, and then they throw this at gold, and they throw it onto her golden arm, which now being superheated, and and it's a liquid form, so it can coat the arm. It disrupts all the magnetism properties and stuff that she has in her power that she's using, which is the only thing that she seems to be using, nothing else. So it completely disrupts that, and it allows Hinawa to take a point blank shot at the nice little circle, nice little bullseye on her forehead, and pop her one time, and end it. Like, absolutely fantastic the way they set it up and they did it. Like, I loved it. Again, the science and stuff was kicking in, so I got excited. That's fun part for me. So they do this, they're able to take out gold. And with gold being removed, they're straight up like, dang. The other two guys are with her, like Stream was one of the names. He's just like, hey, well, she's done. On to the next, and so with that, and getting ready to go up. And then Tom Key's even saying, like, y'all would have done better if y'all would have fought us all together. Like, because this is the team, this is how the eighth works. We work as a team, stuff. And they're like, yeah, we only know how to fight individually. That's it. I'm like, that's gotta be one of the crappiest cop outs I've ever heard. Yeah, we only know, like, really? Really? Like, y'all do much better fighting as a team. So that even fighting individually as a team, but hey, we're over here, but we're all simultaneously attacking. So that, yeah, you could probably get some stuff done, but no, we fight 1-on-1 and that's it. So that was absolutely hilarious to me. We see that Stream is getting set up to do something. He's calling out Anna and Erica, which are, I guess, these tornadoes and stuff that he's creating. He's creating vortexes using heat. So being able to cause significant wind changes with heat. And this is how storms are done with, you got cold fronts and warm fronts. When they mix and mingle, this is where you get tornadoes and all this other stuff. So again, science coming into play. And with him creating the different currents and being able to control the currents, he's getting ready to do some real damage. He actually puts Hinawa in his sights. He's getting ready to drop Hinawa like real quick, so with that. And then he gets interrupted by some kind of slice. And then we see none other than the knight Arthur Boyle walk in cold, just like, yeah, I fell off my horse. So with that, he walks up and the guy's like, yeah, well, I don't care. I'm still finna rock you. Takes out, starts creating 4 vortexes. And before he can get in one really good freaking shot edgewise with that, violet flash, immediately done. Instant KO. No problem whatsoever for Arthur. Drops the dude and is like, yep, who's next, whatever. And they're looking at the third guy and it's like, all right, it's on to you. What's about to happen? And we see he's getting ready to set up for whatever he's got going on. While this is going on, we would go back to Shinra and Burns and like, okay, finally we're getting some headway here. And we see Burns, who's just still sitting there, look like he just powering up. He ain't moved. So that he just kind of got that like hot glow from like you just superheated some metal. He's just glowing. And he decides, hey, go ahead and implant Obi. So you take the bug, go to implant Obi, and you see Obi kind of and that's where episode cuts. So Obi has finally been implanted. As far as we know, we see it crawl through the clothes, but Obi's finally been implanted. What happens from here? All right. So next episode is what we're waiting to see is if Obi is going to actually turn, if he's able to survive. I'm thinking that because Obi's got such good muscles because he's always working out, that the bug ain't gonna be able to get through his skin. Is that he's gonna like crush him with like an ab, like his obliques or something like that. He's gonna crush him and stop all that from happening. I have no idea. Again, setup. I haven't read the manga, but I don't know if Obi's going to turn right away. But if he does turn, then they're probably gonna have to end up fighting Obi, and that's gonna be a whole big thing. And we'll have to see how it goes from there. So I'm excited. I'm hyped. There's this big dude that's coming. That's kind of what the preview. Some big dude's gonna come out and scrap, and presumably scrap with, probably Arthur or the Eighth team. So they're still gonna remain separate for a while Joker and Shinra are taking on Burns and whatever Burns has got going, while the rest of the Eighth is dealing with all these, assassins that are walking out. That's where we're at. Make sure you hit that love or subscribe button to stay informed and tuned when I do these recaps, these reviews on the stuff. Again, this is a solid episode as far as the Eighth goes. So that as far as Burns and Shinra goes, that part was kind of freaking boring, but at least we got him implanted. So the story is moving forward and we can kind of see what's going to happen from here. That's all I got for this one. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Later.